Hi, Physics of Earth and Space Science folks. This is the PEAS video for those folks who were absent or who have more questions from Tuesday, September 15th. So announcements that you saw on Tuesday and today is that I'll be checking the notebooks on Friday. I'll send out a separate link of all the videos I made for the notebooks. The next thing had to do with the work list. This is super important. This is where you go when you're trying to figure out what you missed in class or what work you have to do. So if you were in class, it's been communicated to you that this is your responsibility. It is your responsibility to check this list. I will not go through it every day. However, it is in the same place. So if you're one of those students who benefit from a teacher reminding you about certain things, this is your reminder. Your reminder is to look at the work list. Now you have work in this work list every day during this asynchronous work time at the bottom, which is shown in the green row. So let's take a look at how you would access the work list. On your Schoology homepage, whether you're in Block 4 or Block 3, at the very top is your work list. You click on that, it'll take you to the work list. Now you can pop this work list out if you would like, so you can access it a little bit more easily. By the way, at any time if you need to rewind this video or pause it, do so. What you'll see on the work list at the top is the schedule for this week, for the current week. So whatever week is current will be at the top. And it has the work that you are expected to do after school. On the bottom here are weeks from your work list from previous weeks. So let's say, for example, you were absent the week last week and you wanted to see the work list. Well, you just go here and you'll find it here underneath. So top is what we're working on for the current week and the bottom is the past. Okay, so as I said, every day you're assigned work after school. It's sort of like homework. It's called asynchronous. If you're absent or you don't know what the asynchronous work is, you're checking that work list. That's your responsibility. And the current week will be on the top and previous weeks will be on the bottom. So next thing about support hours. We went over announcements about support hours. Remember, you can access those through Schoology. The links are on the first page. If you are in Block 3, the link for support hours will be the second link, and the first link is the one for the class, and the bottom link is the one for Miss Prescott Smith's support hours. If you're in Block 4, you only have two links currently, so the top one is the one for the class, and the bottom one is the one for my support hours. Okay, so the objectives on Tuesday was to catch up on missing work, but what we first did was we reviewed what we've learned in Unit 1.1, History of the Earth. So, or I should say, Age and Composition of the Earth, where we learned about the history of the Earth. Now, in this unit, we've learned that scientists believe the Earth is 4.5 billion, which is the same as 4,005 million years old. And they base it on techniques like radiometric dating and other evidence. Now, the Earth's history is divided into 4 eras. So each of these rectangles represent an era. We have first Precambrian, Paleozoic, Mesozoic, and Cenozoic. Now, during each era, the Earth undergone some sort of change, whether it was to the atmosphere, climate, oceans, crusts and continents, life forms, and length of day. Those things are changing or have changed in the Earth, on planet Earth, throughout its history. And that's important because we want to use those changes to help us predict what the Earth will look like in 20 million years, which is our essential question. But before we go into our essential question, let's take a look at some of the changes that we have seen, starting with Precambrian times. So in Precambrian times, the Earth and the Moon were formed. The atmosphere was toxic and hot. Early life made oxygen, O2. Early oceans and crusts were formed, and so did the supercontinent Rodinia. So this is an image of Rodinia as a supercontinent. During Paleozoic, there was a Cambrian explosion, so all of these different life forms. and the latest supercontinent, Pangaea. So see that there are two supercontinents, Rodinia during the Precambrian time, and Pangaea during Paleozoic times. After that, we have the Mesozoic, and that's with the dinosaurs. And we had the formation of our 7 continents, like North America, South America, Africa, Europe, Asia, and Australia, and of course, Antarctica. That formed during this time. And then finally, we have the Cenozoic. And 2 major things that happened there, we had mammals that sort of evolved, and the formation of our mountain ranges, like the Rocky Mountains or the Himalayas. Now, your work for last class, your asynchronous work from Tuesday was to do the 1.1 exit ticket and to complete your KWLQ. So now let's take a moment to review that. So if you look at your work list from Tuesday, it says the Unit 1.1 exit ticket, to fill out the L and Q of your KWLQ and submit it, and essential question take 2. That's quite a lot, but it actually is all reinforcing the same thing, so it's not too bad. So let's take a look at first the Unit 1.1 exit ticket. Now you can access that by clicking on this link here, or you can find that in Tuesday's folder in Schoology. Sorry, I meant the asynchronous folder in week 2. So let's go ahead and find it. So Unit 1, week 2, and asynchronous, because that's when it's assigned in your calendar. So if it's in the asynchronous, that's where you go. And here you have your exit ticket. Also, you have the link to the KWLQ, which you will have to do later. So what you'll do is you'll click on this and it'll take you to the exit ticket. And as you see, there are 7 questions that you have to enter in the exit ticket. So you're going to do this and submit it. After you've done that, you want to finish your KWLQ. So let me click on that. Now, week 1 on Friday during the asynchronous learning, you were assigned this part of the KWLQ, the know and want to know. Now what you're going to work on is the learned and question section. So what did you learn so far in this unit? Well, we talked about the history of the Earth. And what questions do you have? You're going to type those there. What you write here must be relevant to, or must be related to this stuff. What did you learn when you learned about the history of the Earth? Okay, so we have that part done. So let's sort of review what this says here. So it says to do the exit ticket in KWLQ, after you have completed the play posits from last week, videos 1, 2, 3, and 4, and have submitted the note sheet, then you're doing the exit ticket and completing your KWLQ. So if you need to pause this to read this to yourself, go ahead and do so. Now, it says that you're supposed to do this work after you completed the play posit videos from last week and submitted the note sheet. That means if you haven't done that, you're a little bit behind, and I'll show you how to get to those later. But for right now, let's take a look at the other item on our work list. So we talked about the exit ticket. We talked about the KWLQ. Now we need to do the essential question take 2. So essential question take 2. Remember that the essential question you had already answered. You did a take 1, first take at it. Now you're going to do a take 2. And our essential question is, what will the Earth look like in 20 million years? This time for take 2, I'm asking you to describe a total of 4 changes. Or things that will be the same on Earth in 20 million years, based on the things that you've learned previously. 2 of them, at least 2 of them, must come from what you learned in Unit 1.1, but the other 2 can come from things that you think of on your own. So some things to consider. Do you think the continents will be the same 7 continents, or will they move further apart or come closer together? Do you think our life forms will look the same? How about the atmosphere? Right now, it's an atmosphere that we can live in, and it's not toxic to us, do you think it will become more toxic? How will the climate change? Or the length of the day? Do you think the length of the day will be longer or shorter? So again, you're going to use the knowledge of what you gained in this unit so far, or what you've learned here, to help you answer this essential question. So let's go ahead and take a look at that document. So that document can be found in your Unit 1, Week 1, Tuesday folder. So to get to that, Unit 1, W or Week 1, Tuesday's folder. And it's an essential question. It says take 1 because that's what you did last time. So when you open the document, you will see the question at the top. If you could time travel to Earth 20 million years in the future, what would you notice? What would be the same? What would be different? You've already written something in take 1, so there should be already something written here. What you're going to work on today is this section, take 2. You need to write something here. And you need to write 4 things. And they could be things that either change, or, I should say, and, or stay the same. Okay? And you have to include 2 things from what you learned in Unit 1.1. Okay. So when I look at this later on today, I should see both of these filled out. Okay, that is the work. Now let's talk about makeup work and things like that. So yesterday was a catch-up day, so I listed work that I thought would be high priority and work that's low priority for you. We're going to focus on the high priority work. The first high priority item is your note sheet, completing that note sheet. So I'm going to walk you through how to complete that. You also need to complete the KWLQ discussion, and I'll talk about that in a moment, and your radiometric dating discussion, for those of you who didn't. Although at this point, most people have done that. And you must complete your notebook, which I'm going to link in a separate video how to complete those. All right, so let's talk about the note sheet. The note sheet is in Unit 1, Week 1, Tuesday. So let's go ahead and take a moment to get there. And I'm just going to go ahead and go right back out to the home page if it's helpful. So Unit 1, W1, Tuesday. And now what we're going to do is look for the geological time note sheet. Open that up. Now, this note sheet sort of captures what you learned while you're watching the video. And you're going to fill in the blanks to do that. Notice that there are 1, 2, 3, 4 tables. Each table represents a different era. And you will need to watch the video for that era to help you fill in the blanks. So let's start with the first one, Precambrian. How do you find the video for that? I already sent this in a message, but just in case it's helpful to see it, I will show you. So for the Precambrian era, you're going to watch video 1. So you would watch this, play, pause it. You watch that, play, pause it to fill in the top. All right, so after you've watched that and you can fill in the top part, now you need to do the Paleozoic era. All right, so for that, we need a different play pause it. And to get to that one, we are still in Unit 1, Week 1, okay, so still in the Week 1 folder, but now we need to go to the asynchronous work. For Wednesday, Wednesday is the video 2, Paleozoic. So you're going to watch this play pause it to fill in this table. So it says video 2, Paleozoic. Fill in this table. Okay, what about the next table? The Mesozoic table with the dinosaurs. Okay, well, for that one, you kind of have to keep going back and forth. We're back in the week 1 folder. Okay, we see all the days of the week. Now for that one, we need to go to Friday, and we see video 3. So you'll watch that video to fill in this part of the table. Last table to fill in, Cenozoic. For the Cenozoic, you're going to go back out to week 1, and your asynchronous video 4 Cenozoic. When you watch this one. So once you have all of this, all the videos watched, then you've learned what you needed to learn about the history of the Earth. And remember, once that's done, that will help you to finish your KWLQ, what you've learned, to then help you answer your essential question, take 2. Because remember, you need to include 2 things that you learned. Okay, so that's the first 2. The next 2 high priority items are your KWLQ discussion and your radiometric discussion. Now, I talked to folks about that yesterday. So the KWLQ discussion is in week 1, asynchronous Friday. So we're going to go to week 1. We have to go all the way back out because this is the real week 1. Week 1, asynchronous Friday. Now for this discussion, there are 2 things. You have to write either something you know or want to know that you've written in your KWLQ about the history of the Earth. But then you also must reply to another student. So if you haven't done that, then you're going to have, or you haven't done it well, you're going to have different grades. So let's talk about the grades that you may see in your assignment. If you have an incomplete, that means you were not clear. So to help you to be clear, how do you make your discussion clear? You will follow the examples in the PDF or the video linked in the KWLQ discussions. So here's the KWLQ. You open the PDF, or if you want to watch the video, at the bottom here, I show you good examples and bad examples. So this is a good example. A moon is something that orbits a planet. Or I know the moon orbits around the Earth. That's good. But if you just write the moon, or I know the moon, or moon question mark, planet question mark, that's not good. You have to have a complete thought. So follow these examples to help you to fill out your KWLQ if you got a missing or an incomplete, if it's incomplete. The second thing is if you have a 70 for your KWLQ, that means you need to respond to a classmate. So once you respond to someone, then you will get the other 30 points. And if it's missing, that means you didn't do it the last time I checked, which was over the weekend. So it's important for you to make sure that your discussions are updated and they're to your satisfaction. Similarly, the radiometric dating discussion, which is in Unit 1, Week 1, asynchronous Thursday. So let's take a look at that. Unit 1, week or W1, asynchronous. So the green folder, it's asynchronous, and then it's Thursday. That's the discussion. In this case, you do not need to reply to anyone, but you need to give me a rating of your understanding from 1 to 5 about radiometric dating and explain your rating. That's all you need to do for that. Lastly, you need to complete your notebook. And as I said, I will post information about that in separate videos. Finally, in terms of the notebook, for those of you who do not have your notebooks completed, when I check on Wednesday night, so tonight, if it's not completed, then I'm going to send you a message in Schoology and you have to come to support hours. As for the low priority assignments, on Monday, anyone who has not completed this or needs help with it, I'm going to have VIP support hours for that as well. All right, final reminders. You want to submit your note sheet and your KWOQ. You are answering essential question number 2, but you're not submitting that document until the end of the entire unit. And don't forget, I'm going to check your notebook. That should say Friday, not Thursday. Let me go ahead and change that. All right, that is it for this video. I hope it was helpful. Email me if you have questions. Have a call today.